Hi, welcome to Street Beat. I'm your host, Mark Wagner. Today we have a guest on our premiere episode. His name is Greg Odell, and he is from the Society of Syncopated Drummers. Welcome, Greg.
Thanks, Mark. Great to be here. It's an honor to have you call me up for the show.
My pleasure. But let's go. Tell us about the society.
All right. Well, we started the society in 2014 as a 501c3 nonprofit. Our um, our basic mission is to preserve and promote the art of syncopated drumming. And if you know about syncopated drumming, you know it's since the 80s and 90s, it's been in a serious decline. Not many schools practice it at all anymore. There's only now in the 2000s, we got maybe two or three groups that are active. And by active, I mean, maybe two, three times a year. So, we really wanted to focus on um, the importance of what this type of drumming is about, and make sure it sticks around and just doesn't disappear altogether. So that's what it's about. And we got the idea to do this society. We brought the our group, the Last Regiment, from Portland, Oregon to Long Beach. We were invited by Fred Rawling to perform at the uh, Long Beach Junior Concert Band drummer reunion at El Dorado Park. So we, did a fundraiser, got everybody down there, and worked real hard on a performance to play for all the alumni drummers. And I was nervous to wonder what they'd think of how we were doing our brand of syncopated drumming, and uh, but it went over really good. They really appreciated how much time and effort and thought we put into our show, and even playing some of the older cadences in our set to honor them. We came away from that experience feeling like, it's important to honor this drumming, not just with our new group in Portland, but to make sure the old drummers have a platform, so they're remembered, and what they have put forth, in the past is honored. Um, it's not just about the past, but it's about the future. Through the society, we've also set up drumming programs through grade schools, middle schools, and high schools. At the height of our program, we had five schools with after school drumming programs. We called them Thunder Drum programs, appropriately enough. And I'd get anywhere from 8 to 12 kids, and their average age was 10 years old. I'd strap drums on them and show them very simple drumming cadences. And we'd culminate the end of the year with a big jamboree of all five elementary schools, and their parents came down, and uh, they they played their cadences, and then we did one cadence at the end. They learned, they played all together, so there was one cadence that they learned all together. So we had, gosh, can you imagine, like 40, 45, 10-year-old kids hammering out some cadence together. It was really thrilling, and they loved it. Currently, I'm working at Roosevelt High School with the band director there, and he needed help with his drum line. So I suggested, let's put together a syncopated style drumming line. We're not going to use the quad toms or tonal bass drums or floating snares. We're just going to use some vintage Ludwigs and put them on slings and just keep the beats easy so they're not too complicated and nice and funky. And they're having a great time. It's a little tricky to get it back started, after the pandemic and all that. We're still growing the program, but I got to say, this is the Jason Margolis. He's the band director there. He's taken a chance on this, where many band directors like, I don't understand it. I don't want it. Let's have those quad toms and the stuff the sound my ears are used to. So he's taking a chance with me, and it's starting to show good progress over there with the high school kids. So fingers crossed we can keep it going, and maybe it'll be inspiring for other high schools, not just here in Oregon, but maybe it'll travel back down to Long Beach, where it all came from.
How has Portland taken to your style?
Portland just loves it. I see. It's really interesting because, to me, it's in the context of the historic drumming that we grew up with. You and I grew up with down in Long Beach, but in Portland, it's out of context because it doesn't see the history. The only history it knows of this drumming is through us. It started in 1998, but it's caught on. It used to be we would just show up and play at a nightclub before a rock band, and people they'd go crazy. They'd think it was the best thing they ever heard. And then as we got more established, we started doing more legitimate gigs, charity walks. We do all kinds of sporting events, cross-country races, bicycle races. Sporting events loves us, track meets, as well as, corporate gigs. We got some gigs with Nike and Adidas and playing for their events. And it's just propelled itself. It's really interesting. I didn't know what would become of it back in 1998. I thought, well, let's give it a go, get some drums, get some drummers together. I'll show them some cadences and see if we can pull this off. And here we are 25 years later, and it's going great. We're planning some travel. I won't disclose yet, but we're planning a couple different trips the next couple years, and want to spread the music as far and wide as we can, and keep it going, keep this sound going.
Sounds good. You have a website for the society?
We do. We have a website for the society. I got it on a page here. You can read this. Where'd it go? Oh, it's disappearing into the thing. Can you read that?
No, I can't see it.
It's disappearing into my thing. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll read it to you. Society of Syncopated Drumming, www.syncopateddrumming.org. Easy, syncopateddrumming.org. That's what it's about. And it's a really great website. It has different sections for all the different marching groups I've been aware of. I've done a lot of years of studying who was playing syncopated drumming and when, and what schools had sections for what years. And so we cover all of that, and we honor everybody who's played in these groups. With that said, I'm only one guy, so there's so much left to this amazing, awesome story. Started in the early 1950s. Marvin Marker brought the sound to fruition through his group, the Long Beach Junior Concert Band, and they were the first and foremost uh, to be playing this way. And it with that, it went out to all the other schools in the Long Beach area. So through the concert band and the students who were in that um, program, they would bring it to their own private high schools, and then they would use cadences or write their own. Um, anyway, the web page is great, and like again, I'm one guy, so if anybody out there has information about their experience in syncopated drumming, cadences, uh, where they were, what school they went to, or if they were part of the Long Beach Junior Concert Band, just let us know. Drop us a line. We're always interested to hear stories, fun facts. I've had people send me pictures of their uniform or their drum or just memorabilia or some recall cadences and tap them out for me, and we'll try to notate those and keep them on record. There's so many different cadences and so many variations. It's almost impossible to get it all, but what we have, it's a pretty good catalog.
Am I on your list?
Of course, you're on our list. Yeah, Long Beach Junior Concert Band, Wilson, RSR, right? And RSR is still going.
Yep. I was a founder.
Yeah, and they're still going. So, man, so that's a testament to you. There's a group you started and they're still going, even though you've now retired.
Well, I
I
didn't have
think,
much of a choice, but yeah.
well, I think, I tell my guy, I'm 55. I tell him I'm too old to be doing this. This is made for, you know, 15, 16, 17-year-old kids that have a lot of stamina and a lot of limberness in their arms to be hitting drums in this fashion. And I tell them, I say, let's get to the gym, do some stretching, do some strength training, do some cardio, keep up with yourself, because it's not an easy performance, especially if you're marching at any for a couple miles. A 2 mile parade hammering drums like that is tricky. At least in concert band, the cadences were only between the songs, right? So you had a song where you'd play much lighter. But when the cadences came, you went full volume, full focus and effort. With just a drumming group like Last Regiment or RSR, that's full volume, full commitment, the whole 2 miles. You might have a little bit of a rest on a rim beat or something, but
Well,
it's
look at RSR. You got two members who've been there all 40 years. Val Adams and Jesse Willis.
that's right. And Val's he was in the first group with you, huh?
Yes, he was. He's one of the originals.
Now, did you play in the Calvary group, the California?
Yes,
And that was pre RSR, wasn't it?
yes.
Okay, California Syncopated Calvary. So there you go. There's another one. That was pretty cool too. Um, they're on our website as well. Glenn Stacy told me about them.
He was one of the starters of that one.
Okay. All
So
right.
what got you interested in syncopated drumming?
I got interested in it probably as a very young child, because when I was probably, I'd say between the ages of 8 and 10, which would put the year about 1976 to 78, I could hear the syncopated drums in at my backyard, And I realized, well, I could hear him from my backyard, that sound was being thrown over 2 miles away. So I knew it was loud, and I loved the drums even as a little kid. So I knew when I got to high school, I was going to play that drum. And when I got to high school, which was 1984, I talked to the band director, Roland Sandberg. I said, I'd really like to be in band. I'm a drummer and I'd love to play the drums. And he said, great. Come this day on summertime, we're going to start practice. We'll issue you a drum and you just do what the drummers tell you to do, and learn the music. So I did. I showed up and just started playing. Um, it was amazing. My hands were bloody from nonstop playing as hard as you can, and it doesn't sound great, but I mean, it was kind of that rite of passage. You got to build up your endurance, your blisters, your muscles. And granted, I don't think I look back, I don't think I was the best drummer, but I had a lot of passion for it. I had a lot of drive to do this. You see the picture behind me. That was 1984 group right there. And that was Wilson. That's why I put that up, because that was my first indoctrination to syncopated drumming was with these guys here.
Yeah, that
And
was after I graduated.
year after you graduated. And I remember when you came down there. I think it was that year or the year after. I can't remember, but you came down to a rehearsal and was
That
showing
was
us how to march.
84.
84. Do you remember that? Do you
Yeah.
remember coming down there to help?
Yep.
And I remember the question you had for us snare drummers at Wilson was, why aren't you playing with the traditional grip? And we all looked at you like, we don't know what are you talking about? We can't do that. And, it took a while to understand the throw of a drumstick with the traditional grip. You get more of a whip motion with that left hand. It's aesthetically looks correct for this type of drumming. Match grip doesn't look right for this type of drumming. Anyway, so when I started Last Regiment, I said, if you're playing a snare, you got to play trad grip. You can't do trad grip. You learn trad grip, or maybe you learn the cymbals or the bass drum, tenor drum, even for that matter. Even then, I'd like the tenor drummers to know how to do a trad grip if they got some sticks in their hand. But yeah. So that's where I learned. I learned through the high school. I never marched with Long Beach Junior Concert Band.
What about RSR? You never marched with them either, did you?
Never marched with RSR. Val's invited me, and I look at the cadences, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. I did march with concert band later in life when I was going through studying all this and talking to Lonnie and Carrie about the history of Long Beach Junior Concert Band drums, and they invited me to come play Henderson, Nevada with them. So I practiced the cadences. They got me a uniform, and me and Ray Stewart marched Henderson, Nevada together with the concert band kids. It was pretty much the last. It was the last of the last, because only a year or two later, Lonnie passed on, and it just, concert bands closed its doors. So it was one of the last Henderson, Nevada trips, and I know they used to love to do that yearly with Marvin.
That was one of my last
So,
performances was Vegas.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
was it El Dorado days or Henderson or?
Eldorado days and Henderson. We did both back then.
Okay, yeah. So I actually did march with concert band, but not as a youth. I came in as like an honorary member,
And the old
and it
man.
was tricky. I know it was tricky because they had you playing in white gloves. Lonnie showed me how to tape the sticks up so they'd stick to the gloves. Um, it's and it's tricky because for years I've been running my group up here. So if I saw, a hand signal up, my first thought was the Portland cadences, not the Long Beach cadence. So I had to like transfer. It took me a minute to transfer the same signals for a different cadence.
Oh yeah, I've
So
been there. When I started RSR, I had the same problem. The
yeah,
signals, and I just kept thinking back to the concert band cadences.
yeah, yeah.
Luckily, Wilson was just a set, so we didn't have to worry about it.
That's right. We didn't throw hand signal cadences to change things up. We just learned one set, and when the drum major, whenever he or she blew the whistle, uh, we just go right into the song and then start the process over at the end.
Did you
So
guys do circle ups after the games?
yes, and that was only if we won the game. And you know how Wilson's trajectory was back then. We'd be very lucky to win a game. And so if we won a game, we did get to circle up, and it was a big what to do. We were just really excited for that. Um, Another exciting thing is you could see us here, and that's in the quad in Wilson. And I think almost every Friday, we would we would hit the drums for the rally at the top of the hour. The rally would start, then it would start with the drums. So we'd hit the drums, we'd hit the rock out, and it is either the pepsters or the song girls they'd have a routine in front of us there, and we'd play the rock out, and they'd have their dance to go along with it. And it was cool. It was a great way to open and get kids to come out from their classrooms and run down to the quad and hear what the drums were doing and watch the dancing cheerleaders and stuff. So we got plenty of chances to play the set. And
Well,
you know
we
what?
we got to
What's,
play whether we won or lost.
oh, you got to play whether you won or not.
Yep,
You guys are probably better than us back then. Anyway, you had
of course we were.
a. They made us wait. They did. They made us wait. I think by the time I got in it, if you were a drummer, it was kind of automatically you got a pretty big head about you because you're like, I'm the drummer. Nobody can. There's kind of like almost like a gang. Almost like uh, like a brotherhood, or I don't know what you'd call it. Kind of its own little clique. So you thought, I know a lot of us thought we were, above everybody. And I think that was to our detriment. It kept us, and I think it only got worse as the years went on. We still understood our role in the band, but I think, you know, you got into the early 90s, they were still doing it and they were getting in more and more trouble, and finally they're just like they didn't sound good, and it was just a big mess. I think they had to let the whole syncopated thing just push them away. It got kind of bad. So
Did you guys
But I
get
do.
to do the All Western Band review?
No, man, we didn't have that. You know what we had with it? We had the Milk Bowl.
Oh, we
That
had the
was,
Milk Bowl every year. We had to do the All Western Band review my senior year.
yeah, I don't remember that. I don't remember doing a Western band review. I think that went by the wayside by the time I got in '84. I can't I can't recall that at all. You know, because Sandberg, my sophomore year, my very first year was his last year. Once Sandberg left, the vibe of the band program changed. We got a fella named Steve Frazier, and he was a good director, but he was an orchestra guy. He was a cellist. So he knew about that. Marching band wasn't his forte. Jazz wasn't his forte. Orchestra. The orchestra got wicked good, but the marching band, my junior and senior year, just I think I was on the downhill slope of that band being really, really good. My sophomore year, it was really good.
All right, Greg. Well, I hate to end this because it's been a very interesting talk, but time's running short.
Okay.
So thanks for joining us, and well, hopefully we'll get to talk to you again.
All right. I feel like there's so much more we can cover, so I'd love to do this again.
All right. Well, I'll be in touch.
All right. Thanks, Mark. Have a great day.
You too, Greg.
Bye bye.
Bye.